Historical features around the town of Bled. Well, now the race that just about everybody's been looking forward to, the men's single sculls, with Thomas Langer, the Olympic and world champion, in lane 3. But furthest away from us, this man, Kaitan Broniewski, who was 5th in the Olympic Games in Seoul. And next to him, Jesus Posse for Uruguay, the first Uruguayan ever to reach the final of a World Rowing Championship. Here he is, the champion, all 98 kilos of him. Yuri Janssen for the Soviet Union in lane number 4. The Soviet Union still without a medal. Then Vaclav Chalupa, the man who won the Diamond Sculls this year at Henley Royal Regatta, and completing the lineup in lane 6, closest to you, for the Federal Republic of Germany, Christian Hendel. Short strokes to get him away. And Chris, I know this is a race you've been looking forward to.
Very much. I think it's going to be one to savour too. I'm not expecting to see Langer led. I think he'll want to get out and dominate this race. He'll want to get clear of the field. Now we're looking at Yuri Janssen rowing in a very typical Soviet style, that long layback, reach off the finish. It's very, very different from the other scullers, as we'll see as the race develops. But this has all the makings of a great, great race. This season, Langer has not been beaten, but he's had 2 very close races with Chalupa of Czechoslovakia at Grunau and Lucerne. And I think he's going to want to get out and stamp his authority on this race. And from this aerial shot, we can see the effort off the finish as he tries to drive the boat away, try and get a little bit of a lead in that first 500. But it's Langer over there in lane 3 and Chalupa in lane 5 who make the early going.
And the man at the top of the picture is Broniewski, furthest away for us as we come to the 500 metres. But Langer it is who's got the lead there from Chalupa, and then the Polish sculler. And interestingly about the Polish sculler, he, the man who denied the great Finnish sculler, Pertti Karpinen, his time, or should say his place in the final. 3 times Olympic champion Karpinen, but he didn't manage to make this final. And Chris, the time for the first 500, 1 minute 39.44, very quick as we see Chalupa here.
Yes, indeed. I'd say 2 to 3 seconds faster than the conditions merit. So it shows how fast these scullers have gone out. And it'll really be a question of who hangs on longest as the race develops. And now we're looking down on the scullers, and still it's Langer and Chalupa. And there we're looking at the bows of Thomas Langer's boat to give some idea of the load on these scullers. They're doing the equivalent of lifting a 25-kilogram sack of potatoes from the floor to their neck 32 times a minute for 7 minutes. And all the time they're trying to balance on a very insecure platform about 30 centimetres wide. So it's a real skill and strength exercise. But it's Thomas Langer, a steady 32 strokes a minute, sitting on about a length from Chalupa nearest the camera and beyond Broniewski. And so far this season, Chalupa and Broniewski have raced 2 very close finals. So I think we can expect to see a tremendous challenge between these 3 scullers.
500 metres to go, and Langer well in command. Chalupa in 5, just about second, ahead of Broniewski, but not much between that pair. And then Janssen and Christian Hendel for Russia and the Federal Republic of Germany. 7 titles since 1980, and he really is the master of this discipline, Chris, at the moment.
Indeed, this is the ultimate hard man sport, and this is the hard man himself. He's never been headed in a championship, this man, and he's showing all the consistency that we've grown used to seeing in him. He's got a very upright style, very strong, very, very consistent. He's now increased the rate of his striking, the number of strokes a minute, from 32 to 35, which you really wouldn't know unless you were an expert or had the watch to tell you. He's going to go out now and dominate this last quarter of the race.
250 metres to the line. And Langer in the perfect position. He can look to his left and to his right. He can see the moves that any of his opponents make, but I don't think any of them today will have an answer to this man. Broniewski still digging in hard there, looking for a medal in lane number 1. And closest to us, just out of picture, Chalupa, still perhaps just in silver medal position, with the Russian Yuri Janssen closing on him. But Langer, a nice flowing movement, really sending the boat on every stroke. Just gets that little bit extra out, and that's the difference between him and the others. And look at that gap he's opened up. And there's Chalupa in lane 5. We caught a quick glimpse of him, and indeed the Russian Janssen is closing on him. We're going to see the pair of them, and Broniewski's in that battle also for silver and bronze at the top. So a three-way fight for the other medals as Langer comes in, no problems, gold to the German Democratic Republic. But look at that, Chalupa almost being caught by the Russian there, but he hangs on for silver, and the Russian there takes the first medal for his country at these World Championships.
Because Janssen, who rode steadily through the first Broniewski, but he passed Broniewski more or less on the line and closed in on Chalupa. So a commanding race from Thomas Langer. There we see the second place to Chalupa, followed shortly by Janssen and then Broniewski.
One has to feel a little sorry for Broniewski because he did battle very, very hard. And it's interesting to note that Yuri Janssen picked up something like 5 seconds in the last 500 metres.
Yes, quite remarkable. He rode his last 500 first and is faster than his first one, which is most unusual. But here we see 4 outstanding scullers who have now taken over for the mantle from first Pertti Karppinen and also Peter Michael Kolbe, who have dominated single sculling for the last 10